said, "Are you, where are you from?" I said, "America." "Oh, okay, I'll watch her." She didn't charge me.
They're welcoming you like that.
Yeah.
They're accepting you like that. Must have been kind of a surprise to you.
Very surprising and great. Great. I mean, that's why I guess I'm still here.
Now, being here for the past 16 years, I understand that you've also had an opportunity to get your brother David Rocovits to come. Could you tell us a little bit about him and how you have kind of helped him in kind of being a family facilitator for him with Vietnam?
Well, he's an enthusiastic traveler, so any places where I've lived in the world, he's come to visit. When we were both young, we traveled together in backpacks, and like you see all over Vietnam at the moment. He's been here. In fact, he's coming again in this coming December. But this will be his 10th trip.
Wow.
To Vietnam. And on his 3rd trip, a friend of mine, American veteran, who was working with the Lang Hiếu Nghị,
the Friendship Village.
The Friendship Village, took my brother and I out. I had been out there before, and we were at the Friendship Village, and we went in a room where they were doing crafts that they were using to sell, so that they could teach both working skills and generate money for the village.
These are children with living with disabilities.
These are severely disabled children. Almost all of them born with these disabilities. And he just saw them working so hard with just very little, ability to do things. He broke down in tears. And since that point, he has been one of the major fundraisers. He joined the Friendship Village project in America, and a lot of the money that he sends over is his own personal money.
It's been a long time since Dan last visited the Vietnam Friendship Village. Mr. Đặng Vũ Dũng, the director of the village, accompanies Dan to visit one of the residents who lived at the village for 7 years, and who Dan and close friends refer to as Little Long. Long, 28 years old, is the son of a veteran in Ha Tây who had been affected by Agent Orange dioxin. Thanks to the help of Dan and friends, Little Long has been able to pursue his year-long interest in computers. Now, Long has come back to the village to teach other residents. To Long, Dan has been such a great supporter in boosting confidence and self-esteem.
Khi mà người ta muốn làm cái gì đấy thì có thể sẽ phải có ngày xưa thì em có thể đắn đo, bây giờ có thể làm và khi mà ta đã có một cái ý định thì nên làm. Sau mỗi lần nói chuyện với Dan thì em thấy ai có thể thoải mái hơn và có những khúc mắc được giải tỏa.
As for the Friendship Village, Dan has become a great friend.
Qua anh bạn giới thiệu để anh biết là Hiếu Nghị, thì anh đã nhiều lần đến đây thăm. Đấy. Thế và anh cũng có những cái hoạt động từ thiện nói chung, tức là giúp cho các em là có những cái cuộc triển lãm về các cái bức tranh thêu, rồi những cái hoa lụa mà các em làm, thế để mà trưng bày sản phẩm để bán. Thế và cũng có lần thì anh cũng đã đưa một số cái họa sĩ nước ngoài đến để giúp cho các em là biết học tập cách vẽ.
The Friendship Village is also a place of unforgettable memories for Dan and his brother, David. Coming to the village for the first time with Dan, David had broken down in tears, touched by the resilience of the disabled children.
My brother doesn't cry much. He's a kind of a stoic American type, and it really brought us closer together than we'd ever been in our life. So I thank the Friendship Village for that moment.
Dan says that he would join his brother David when he returns to the Vietnam Friendship Village this December for his 10th visit to Vietnam. They will continue supporting the village, which is also home to over 120 children living with the wide-range effects of Agent Orange dioxin.
Now, I heard that in the central region of Vietnam, you've also worked with areas that are affected by Agent Orange dioxin. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Well, when I was still in Taiwan, I was introduced to a Viet Kieu monk who had relocated to Germany when he was quite young. He wanted to do an aid project in Vietnam, and he wanted help in forming an NGO. So I helped him form an NGO. It's called Compassion International. And they focus on children, education and aid to children and children with disabilities. They're working now in Hue, Quang Tri, Quang Ngai, which are areas which were heavily sprayed with dioxin. They finance corrective operations for children. Very often their limbs can be straightened with corrective surgery. They work on education projects because they feel that long-term education is the way to improve Vietnam for the next 100 years.
Agent Orange dioxin is a big subject here in Vietnam in terms of Vietnam's relations with the United States.
Right.
Did you feel any sense of connection there when you were working on those projects?
Well, I would like to get rid of the concept of Agent Orange and just talk about severely handicapped children, so that we don't have to decide who is at blame, but just, hey, let's solve the problem.
Right.
I have the solution. All I need is about $750 million. And what we do is we build schools in the poorest of the poor areas of Vietnam. Vietnamese really know how to use a school. There's an organization called Vietnam Children's Fund that builds schools. They've built about 43 schools so far in 40 provinces. Their goal is to put one in each province. And they're doing like 5 or 6 schools a year. How about let's do 250 schools a year? It's just a question of funding. The system for building the schools where the community actually builds the school, so they get paid for building the school. They take care of those schools. Those are community centers. The schools are built so well, they're guaranteed for 50 years.
Wow.
So if we're not building 5 a year, 250 a year, you know, $750 million is about the cost of a stealth bomber. You know, we owe it. You know, so anyone out there, if you've got that money, we'll spend it well. We need schools here.
Every morning, Dan's family starts the day with yoga. Sunny, Dan and Hung's 7-month-old baby girl, joins in the action as well. Dan first met Hung 6 years ago, and for Hung, the first impressions of her husband are still vivid and memorable.
Khi mà nhìn thấy cái công việc của Dan làm ấy, thì mình đã rất cảm động và có thể nói là mình rơi nước mắt ngay cái lúc đó, vì mình thấy rất là nhiều cái poster xung quanh cái căn nhà của Dan.